Hi, this is Bobbi from the Vespasian Warner Public Library, and I'm here with another tale from the archive where we talk about objects and documents in our local history collection. Today we're going back to the Roaring 20s and we are talking about bootlegging. And this all came about when I was looking through this 1928 bar docket book, which listed all of the trials that were held in DeWitt County in January of 1928. And I saw one of the criminal cases was the state versus Hazel Henriker for violating prohibition laws. And I thought, that's interesting, I need to know more. So I went to the library's collection in newspapers.com, which is available here at the library or if you have a newspapers.com account, and I searched for Hazel Henriker, and I was not disappointed with what I found. The big story was a raid that the DeWitt County Sheriff held in June of 1929 at 3 homes in Clinton and 1 home in Weldon. And I'm going to be talking about 3 of the people who were raided because this was not their first time. For the Henrikers, when they were raided, they were living on North Center Street, just north of town, outside the city limits. They had a lookout, Jack Brown, who was hanging out in their yard. And according to the journal, the DeWitt County Clinton Journal, the first of the series of raids occurred at the Henriker place on North Center Street, just outside the city limits. As the cars ascended the drive from the hard road to Brown, who was sitting in the sun outside the house, gave the alarm, the officials say. And as the deputies dashed into the house, they overheard Hazel Henriker give the curt order, "Empty it all out." And they caught her actually pouring bottles of liquor through 4 holes she had drilled in her floor. They didn't find any bottles of filled liquor, but they said they found thousands of empty bottles all around the home. This was actually the 4th time that Hazel Henriker was arrested for violating prohibition. The second home they raided was the home of Amanda Devenbaugh. Now she, in 1927, was living at 622 South Center Street. I don't know if that's where she was still living in 1929. The paper did not say. But the paper did say a trap door beneath a rug on the floor was the means of gaining entrance to a receptacle containing 27 bottles of beer which were cooling on a 50-pound cake of ice. The ice was not disturbed, but the bottles were brought in for evidence. And this again was not the first time that Mrs. Devenbaugh had run-ins with the law for bootlegging, because according again to the Clinton Daily Journal and Public, the Devenbaughs were arrested last winter, at which time Deputy Sheriff Ray Crum registered a bite on the arm before Mrs. Devenbaugh was taken into custody. She served a jail term, but her husband was released. He was not home on Monday afternoon, so the day of the raid. So Amanda got to take all of it. The third person I wanted to talk about was Oddie Scott. He was a barber here in town, up off the square, and the police caught him. He was actually pouring the liquor down the sink in his barber shop when they raided him. And the newspaper was kind of snarky and said that he served alcohol as well as shaves and haircuts to his favorite customers. And he had been arrested too with his brother Charlie in 1919 for violating prohibition. There was a hung jury with that trial, so he didn't serve jail time. But this time he was arrested and sentenced to 60 days at the Illinois State Penitentiary in Vandalia. He appealed all the way up to the Illinois Supreme Court, but his verdict was upheld, and he did serve 60 days at what was then called the Illinois Farm down in Vandalia. So this was a fun little rabbit hole. I enjoyed diving down, and if you're interested in anything like this, please come to the library. We have so many resources on local history, especially newspapers.com, which has just been a fabulous resource. So thank you for joining me for this Tales from the Archive, and I hope to see you soon.